How you doing out there? This is JOATD. Today we're going to be talking about this dual carburetor here. This is a clone of a Mikuni dual 33 millimeter constant velocity carburetor. This carburetor came out of a 2003 Yamaha Raptor 660. This is the top of the carburetor. If you were sitting on your 660, this is how the carburetor sits in the bike. Okay. Now, it's a dual carburetor, so whatever I talk about on this side is the exact same on this side. So I'm only going to do one side. This black top right here is called a vacuum chamber cover. It is held down by two Phillips head screws. Now what we're going to do is take the screws out and see what's in here. Now, under this is a spring. Okay. That spring sits right in here. Okay, we're going to take the spring off. This is the spring. Put that off to the side. Now, this part right here is called the rubber diaphragm. That's what this is right here, okay? As you can see, if I grab it, pull it up, it's just rubber. All right. So what we're going to do is take some needle nose pliers and we're going to pull this little white tab out. And grab it. I'm going to try to pull it out. There you go. So you got to pull this little white tab out. Put this over to the side. It's usually a little spring that comes out with this that sits right here on this little plus sign right here. But it's down in here, so what we're going to do is pull the whole thing out and just flip it upside down. Now, this part right here is called the positioning valve. That's the part that's connected to the rubber diaphragm here. I'm going to put this off to the side. The part that was in the middle of it is called the jet needle. That's what this is. This is the needle for the main jet. Okay. On top of this, what's this little baby spring here? The spring sits right, right on top of this. Okay. Now, if you look down in there, that little copper circle in there, that's the main jet. It's on the bottom of the carburetor. This needle, it goes through the positioning valve all the way down to that main jet right there. Okay. All right, guys. So let's talk a little bit about this jet needle right here. This is what controls how much gas you get through your main jet. The numbers start from the top. So the first one at the top up here is 1. And then it's 5 positions. So 1 all the way down to 5. Right now, this needle is set on the 5th position. Okay. That means I'm going to get the most gas or fuel through my jet. The higher you go up, the less fuel you're going to get through your jet, your main jet. To actually change the position, it's just an E-clip on it. You just pop that clip off and move it up or down, where you want it to sit, and snap it back on. So however you took it off, put it back the same way, unless you want to add more fuel or less fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and put this all back together, and we're going to flip it over to the bottom side. I have already took off the float bowl covers, which are these right here. All it does is cover up the floats. It's 4 Phillip head screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. You take those out, this whole cap comes off. Just make sure that when you pull it off, you have the actual rubber grommet in here. Alright, so this side right here is your left side, this is your right side. The left side is always closest to the throttle adjust right here. This is your throttle adjust. So the left side is always going to be closest to this. Now this side is for your idle and your low rev, and the right side is for your high rev. If you're having any problems going halfway through the throttle, it's going to be on this side. If you're having problems going all the way through the throttle, it's going to be on your high side. The left side is the low rev side. It has 3 jets. The right side is the high rev side, and it only has 2 jets. If you're about midways through your throttle and you're having issues, usually this jet is clogged. It'll sputter and then it'll backfire. So you're getting like sputtering, backfiring noises, and it's just not running right. Midways through the throttle, that's usually this one, okay? It's usually too much air, not enough fuel. Now let's say you're gonna jet this. Let's say that you got a better intake and a bigger exhaust, okay? So more air is coming out of the four-wheeler. Your air to fuel mixture is going to be off. These 2 screws are your fuel mixture screws, okay? The left side here is for, remember, your low rev. The right side here is for your high rev. Now the fuel mixture screw on the left side, I normally turn this one out 2 turns, 2 full turns. The one on the right side, I normally turn out 3 turns. When I say turn it out, basically you're going to take this and you're going to turn it to the right all the way down until it stops. Okay, then you're going to put the screwdriver back in it and turn this part right here all the way around back to here. That's 1. All the way around back to here. That's 2. On this side, same thing. Start it here. After you've turned it all the way down, you're going to back it back out all the way around. 1. All the way around. 2. All the way around. 3. That's usually the best settings for my four-wheeler. Some people like to even them up, you know, back this one out 2, back this one out 2, or back this one out 3, back this one out 3. But I normally do 2 on this side, 3 on this side. Remember, this is the low rev and the idle side. This is the high rev side. So to me, this right side should be out more than this left side. But you know, it works for me. Normally you have to set it, let it run, ride it, see if it rides right. If it doesn't, come back, you know, change it again, ride it. If it doesn't ride right, come back, change it again. You know, normally you have to play with these mixture screws to get it perfect for your four-wheeler. But for mine, it's 2 and 3. Alright guys, so let's talk about the jets for a minute. This jet here is called the main jet assembly. Okay, it's 2 jets in one. So this outer part right here, where this 8mm nut is here, this is the needle jet. Okay, in the inside, that is the main jet. So the main jet is inside the needle jet. Now this bottom jet right here, this is the starter jet. If you look over to the right side, it doesn't have it, but on this left side, this is the starter jet. Okay, all it does is add more fuel into the carburetor to start your quad or your four-wheeler. Now, I wanted to finish talking about the jets, but before I do that, let's talk about the floats. Okay, the float is used to cut off fuel going to the carburetor once the bowl has too much fuel in it. This is the actual float bowl here. Goes right over top of it. Once the float bowl has too much fuel in it, the floats will stop fuel from coming into the actual housing of the floats here. That's the job of the float. You can remove the float by backing out this Phillips head screw here, just enough to take the actual float out. Just like that. Now, attached to the float tongue, which is this silver part right here in the middle, is the needle valve. This part right here, this little needle, that's called the needle valve. Okay, that's the part that actually plugs the hole to stop fuel from going into the carburetor. Just gonna put this back. Alright, so the last jet, flip this around, is right in the front where the air comes into the carburetor. It's two of them, one here and one on this side. They're called the pilot air jets. So these jets control the vacuum at the pilot jet. They say the bigger the pilot air jet is, the less vacuum you will have at the pilot jet. So increasing the pilot air jet will pull less fuel through the same pilot jet, which will effectively lean it out. So that's the end of my informational video